very good. So now on to Rosati, Joseph Rosati. Let's discuss. I know you've got a little bit more information about him than some of the others. So
Rosati's a DEA steroid freak bodybuilder. He's like 6'2" or so, but a big bodybuilder. He's a violent, nasty, lying person. He always has been. It's not just me saying it. This is other people that he's worked with. Other agents have complained about the same thing. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of cases where he has added drugs to things. There's an instance where there's one drug case, there's 15 agents involved, and the only complaints in the case were from the people being arrested were about Rosati, and the exact same complaints from the agents. He always had to be the one to swoop in. He never did anywhere. He's always the cowboy, had to be out on his own, but he was always the one to swoop in with the big bust. The 14 agents would find 30 pounds of marijuana. And he would swoop in all by himself with no record and, I got a kilo of coke, and make the big bust. And they complained. Agents on numerous cases in numerous locations would complain about him doing this. He's also been sued many times by people who flat out said, I'm a drug dealer. I sell marijuana. I never touched the other stuff. It's all I've ever sold. I believe in it. But he added it to it. I mean, the exact same complaints over and over again from not only, defendants, but agents working with him. And when things would get too bad, they would just move him off into another region, another district. He's a nasty, violent person that I personally had to deal with.
Now, you mentioned in a previous tape that he and Morishek were involved with the Seth Rich murder. Are there any other murders that you know of or have heard that he may be associated with? And if so, how were those perpetrated?
Morishek was involved. He supplied the firearm, made it disappear afterwards, got destroyed. Rosati was involved with the Seth Rich. He was there, and he's the one who picked up the MS-13 people outside the city and brought them in when he got them out of the city. He brought Kevin Darty with him. Kevin Darty was kind of a hang-around, wannabe federal agent, sucked up to them continuously, hoping to get an appointment. He's a big wannabe, always had a different story about his background. He's apparently did almost a year in the Marine Corps many, many years ago. But they used him as kind of a gopher. And he was there that night. And Kevin Darty is actually the one who attempted to kill Jack Bergman later on because he's being exposed in the crime. And he's in prison for that now. So they've been involved in other murders. This is Borshak and Rosati. They're very tight. They would do things where they would, of course, selling guns to gang members. Later, resulted in murders, deaths, and they would call it fishing. They would sell them off. Sometimes they didn't leave them there. They would come up. It's very easy for them to come up with firearms. They would sell them off, and then Borshak would trace the serial numbers and see if it was related later on down the road to any shootings or deaths. And it was fishing. That's how they call it, fishing, and see if they got one. Because to them it was great.
This is similar to the Fast and Furious idea.
Yeah, it was just their version of it.
Just a local version? Or?
It was their version, same time, same time frame that they were doing. But they would track the serial numbers just to see if they got one, if it had been used in a crime or, at one point I thought they were even keeping score, but they would just celebrate it. They just thought it was funny that they made the money and they killed each other and great fun.
You mentioned Rosati has been known to use poisons on people.
Yeah, he's been known to help people overdose, give them hot shots, pure drugs to shoot them, to kill them, to overdose them. He's done this to informants, things like this that he's used. And he's done it several times, as far as we know, that he's bragged about. Informants, because he'll have informants, and then he'll start dealing with them. He'll start dealing drugs with them. He'll start moving products to them, especially pills. And then when they think they have enough leverage on them, they come back and have something. Well, they'll just set them up, and they overdose, and they're gone. So, yeah.
Okay. You mentioned that he's also involved in pharmaceutical.
Pharmacy
fraud.
Pharmacy, yeah. This is the pharmaceutical. I don't think he's got the brain for it. He, as a DEA agent, he used his authority to manipulate pharmacies and shipping and inspections. DEA inspects pharmacies once a month, especially the narcotic shipments. Generally, the pharmacies are divided on all the medications that over here are narcotics, and they're supposed to be inspected. Well, he would oversee the inspections. He would write them off if they had more, if they had less, and he would move them through there. He could sign off on it, and everything looked fine. You know, the number match up, they accounted for everything, and yet they got 30,000 more pills sitting there because they're selling it for him. And they did all kinds of stuff. They would short prescriptions, but it was just the pharmacies ordering these massive amounts of opioids that he was working with, and he would take them and sell them on the streets, sell them to another pharmacy, move them through another pharmacy, and get paid for it. And he was manipulating their inspections. That's what he's doing there. And then when, again, they became problematic or didn't want to do it anymore or felt they were too exposed or local police had come to their door because they'd heard something, he would, boom, oh no, I'm DEA, and he would distance himself and shut them up, threaten them, and go that way.
Well, you mentioned he had a cousin that looks similar to him.
Yeah, he'll do anything for money. He's a piece of crap. He's a large guy. He's like 6'2" or so, and a big bodybuilder. He has a cousin that looks almost like him, but he's skinny, just the face. Cousin, this is little stuff. The cousin would go into banks, and with his ID, with his real ID, he'd give it to him. He'd go in and open up bank accounts, credit lines, things like this. They'd max him out, just ruin it. Bounce checks, credit cards, everything they could possibly get. Then when it finally hit the fan and the bank started collecting, or the credit agent started collecting, he would go into the bank as a DEA agent and say, "Who opened this account?" And it was like, "Well, this is me. Here I am." It was like, "Am I the one that opened it?" And I was like, "Well, no, you're enormous. Obviously, I remember you." And then it goes away. It wasn't him. He's done this lots of times. He had another scam where he actually got other agents shot because of this one, where he was calling as a phony DEA agent, calling people around the country randomly and telling them that a package had been intercepted and had your name on it. It's drugs or it's drug precursors, things like that. It's not in the country yet, but it's coming. If it gets to the country, I'm going to charge you. Well, if you pay a fee, a fine now, $1,200, $800, whatever, it'll never get here. And he got lots of people to pay him. But a lot of people would contact, a lot of people were like, "Oh, you know, I'm not doing that." They contacted the DEA. And it turned out he was actually the DEA's point man on those complaints. So he was running the scam that if anything came back, it went to him anyway. But he did eventually get caught on that because this is a nationwide scam. People all over the country doing this because the 3 numbers he used to do these calls went to the payphone outside of where he worked, the payphone at the gas station about a block and a half from his house, and to a burner phone he was known to use. So not so smart. And then a few of the people were able to record the conversation on the phone as evidence. They had an app or something. And then when they called and it got switched around, everybody was like, "It's the same guy." You know, they're like, "Holy crap!" You know, it was like they really didn't know what was happening. But because of that, because of the phony DEA people trying to make these phony arrests, there were actually real agents enacting a high-risk warrant in California who got shot. The guy just, as soon as they had a warrant, they identified themselves, he just fired them up because he had heard about the phony agents. And it was because of him. He got his own agents shot and doesn't care. So that's how he is.
Okay. Final thing on Rosati. You've mentioned before that he's worked with local mafia people in the Maryland area. Conowingo Pizza has been mentioned in the past. Can you give any more details about how that works?
Okay. You're getting a whole new realm of stuff to worry about. Yeah, he protects certain people who can provide him with what he needs or money. This is a relationship he's had for quite a while. It's Conowingo Pizza on Route 1 in Cecil County, Maryland. It's a small place. Conowingo is not very big at all. But it's run by Little Tony, Anthony, his father, Big Tony, who is connected to the mafia in New Jersey and New York. He runs Pizza Place, but Little Tony owns everything up there. He owns stuff on Route 40 all the way out. He owns millions and millions of dollars in real estate that he gets rent and everything off of. That all came from drugs. Rosati has worked with him for many years. So have the local police up there. and he's just not touchable. But he gets, this is his steady supply, his steady source. They bring in drugs once a week. They bring in dough from New Jersey, and one of their trucks, it varies which one, but one of those is drug shipment. And it's brought in, broken down, and taken out. It's only once a month. And there's a lot. You're talking hundreds of pounds of drugs broken down. Many of it, a lot of the heroin that's brought in, could be a couple hundred pounds of heroin is actually broken down, taken down into Baltimore, D.C.
Yeah, mostly heroin dealer then?
It is now. It used to be more coke, some pills, things like that, but the heroin has jumped way up. And it's predominantly heroin at this point.
Now, is Rosati just running protection for them? Is he moving things for them? Or what's his role in that specific operation? Do you know?
He can give them intelligence. Okay. That's the big thing. If somebody is talking in Baltimore, D.C., he can let them know, or Maryland. He provides intelligence. He gets paid. He can provide them whatever he needs. If he comes up on a bust or something, because he's always skimming stuff, then he can go through them. They'll gladly take care of what he comes up with. They were helping him previously when the big opioid crisis was going. He was coming up with 20, 30, 40,000 pills, opioid pills of one kind or another during a month. 1 month they helped him move it because he had pharmacists that were working with him in Maryland, ones that he was protecting, and they set up a softball thing. They set up non-profit groups to launder all this money. But when he was just getting so much, 30, 40,000 pills, they had to move there. I mean, he needed their help to move that kind of stuff. But he provides intelligence to this day.
Okay. Now, with this group you've just described, actually you mentioned one other Sean, an FBI guy, Sean Henry.
He's just nasty. He's involved up to his eyeballs. He was dirty tricks. He was nasty. He's a lot like Strzok. Thinks he's a computer expert. Had no problem sending information to any foreign government that would pay. He's all about money. He's a CrowdStrike now. He's nasty. He's just a complete criminal with a badge. Or previously, he's not FBI now, but he's still connected to them. Still helps in certain things, but he is flat out criminal.
Okay. Now, was there any specific tie-in with Roberts to this group, with the things that they would do for Rosenstein? Was this group involved in any of these plotted murders of the Supreme Court justices that you know of, or local judges?
They provided evidence. I won't say evidence. They provided intelligence from illegal surveillance of one kind or another to the FBI people, to Sean Henry, who would take it to these FBI insiders, these false flag people who had infiltrated the groups. So they're getting it from both sides. Robert certainly knew about it. He helped with FISA warrants, anything that was connected to it. He knew about that side, of course, because he wanted a say in who he would replace, would be replaced. But they would. Roberts wasn't really involved with the day-to-day nitty-gritty of the Dirty Trick Squad because it was just day in, day out, constantly, nonstop.